make me feel like a rebel, but I will not give you a reason to destroy me more and more again and again.
the timing might not work out for him. He's not looking whatsoever, and he is going to see Flamey coming right out there. The shots ringing out, but he can't land any of the kills. FNX is going to be caught out in the open. The reload, he has the time for it, but he can't find any kills. NaVi collapse on him, and that's a man down for SK.
Getting a bit of an early advantage here too, but Fur is actually still pushing his way through as well. He might have a position in just a few moments, getting ready to lurk his way out, but for now it seems he's sitting at just the exit in case NaVi tried to loop back in and try to go for the A take there. Won't be the case. They're still sticking to their plan A, which is to hit this B bomb set eventually, but SK is still keeping it aggressive. Now we're going to see two of them pushing into these back B halls here. Fur decides to push his way out a little bit, gets a nice headshot there, but Flamey's going to be the one to grab the kill, and now Taco too, he moves in. That's the bomb going down against Guardian, but there's still a lot of T's to deal with. He's blind now. Simple moves in, catches the trade, and a second one against coldzera, leaving just Fallen alive, but he's going to get knocked out as well, yielding NaVi the first round.
So much aggression for the SK side. If FNX is able to get any of the, even just one kill early on, the follow-up aggression in Palace gets punished as well. And that's the thing, because they were the aggressors, they had to try and make up for that man loss on the other side of the map. They had to have Taco push up, try and gain intel, because their defense was so spread out. Just unfortunate, NaVi, as they do, slow playing that round, and they punish everything.
So now NaVi are going to move out to very quickly take that mid control there. SK won't really be resisting it at all, only having Fallen just at the edge of the connector there, and even he's holding back a little bit on the steps position further into the site. So letting them gain this early on. The only area where they may have trouble is actually transitioning this onto the sites, but early control is indeed going to be a very easy thing for them to pick up. Not only this too, but of course keeping Flamey on the lurk up towards the T ramp, and also having C's just outside of the underpass position in the back B halls.
Yeah, NaVi's going to be very, very content, obviously, to just sit back, wait for any pushes, wait for any peaks, just trying to find that information. They obviously, these second rounds can be so incredibly dangerous, so taking their time very much, seeing if there's any of that aggression they just saw in the pistol round. And at the moment, nothing really. This is when they start to make their move. This is where Edward starts to exert some force. And this is scary now. 2 missed smokes for NaVi. It's not the end of the world, but they're running out of utility. They have 1 HE nade, and that just shows a little bit of lack of polish on the utility usage.
But they are going to start to move their way in from Cat, with 3 moving in from here. Cole trying to hunt a little bit here with the Deagle, but not picking up anything. Taco actually gets a nice flash and is able to sneak off a kill at the very least. However, it's already been traded back out into a 4-on-3, and the remaining CTs have been boxed out pretty nicely. Flamey moving in there, actually gets lit up quite a bit, but still has them contained.
Small point of danger for NaVi. If Taco's able to get 1 more kill, that's the bomb as well in halls, and then all of a sudden NaVi has to go on the long round of trying to find it. So they're very fortunate, and now Simple, again, he's just going to clean things up. Precision as Fallen gets taken out.
Beautiful shots coming out from him. Already picking up 2 there on the pistol as well. So a great start for Simple, and we could see that already on the scoreboard. 5-0 just within these first 2 rounds. And FNX obviously not going to get anywhere near that B-bomb site now, just holding back, hoping he can catch at least 1 or 2 players trying to move out to hunt him down.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario for FNX, find an AK-47 at the end of the round, find some kind of a rifle. I don't think they're going to give it to him, and I doubt he even really hunts it. He's got a 5.7 in armor, so something he can bring into the next round, and a small bit of force they can have. See if they can do anything with it. Fallen not investing anything into that second round. This time he's only going to get 1 flashbangs for some kind of a pop flash setup, but obviously he wants to have that AWP up and running in the 4th round.
And over here now, we'll take a look at the opening push from NaVi. Again, early on here, I haven't really seen SK make any bits of moves of aggression in that second round. We'll see if they try to do anything different here in the 3rd round, but if it remains the same, getting control of top mid and then transitioning it over towards counter connector won't be the biggest problem in the world, especially on this run, of course, where the investments are even less from SK. And there you go, same thing again. This time SK did decide to go 4 instead of 3 on the A-bomb site. And again, they've gone for that push in T-ramp, but not finding anything early on once again with that push.
Yeah, there's the pop flash from Fallen used as well. That was the plan. Let's try and find that info. Let's see if anyone's going to be holding back at the bottom of a ramp. See if we can catch him with a nade out, punish a couple players that might be there, but they don't find anything. And with Taco falling over towards the B bomb site, NaVi is going to take that advantage. They're going to storm their way into the site. Edward with a kill through smoke as well. And that was the 5.7. That was the armor. That was really the only point of aggression that SK had in this round.
Fallen's got himself stuck in there too, so coldzera will be getting knocked out here. Trying to take care of Fur. We see Guardian pushing his way into the window room too, but Fallen has the back advantage, does find the kill, of course, but Simple trading it, and Edward jumping up on top of the fence there. Grabs the closing kill. NaVi get their 3-0 start, and not a lot of losses either, so a decent amount of cash just within these first couple of rounds.
Yeah, Guardian, the only player who's died on the NaVi side, 3 times for him.
Unfortunate.
That's tough. But either way, now, I mean, this is the heart of this battle. We have Guardian with the AWP, we have Fallen with the AWP, and if you look at the SK side, because of that investment, they have no kits. They're going to run out of utility pretty quickly as well. Only 3 smokes to use in this entire round. Oh, that's good damage, though. Can't complete the kill, but Edward is essentially out of the fight. 4 HP, he's got to back off.
And now coldzera too, just waiting to see if there's going to be any sort of aggressive response from the Na'Vi side. Not as of yet. They're holding back. We do have a player slowly lurking his way through underpass right now, and I believe that C is working his way in there to take position. So Na'Vi still very heavily favoring the mid control and then transitioning down to the sites within the early rounds here. But SK obviously with the guns in hand now, putting up a lot more resistance to that this time. Fallen sitting at the outside of connector waiting for a push. For a little bit closer as well. So they're ready for it. It's all going to be on to Na'Vi here to pierce through the veil and get their way onto a bomb site.
Right now, they only have mid control. They don't have anyone go, back towards the A bomb site. They don't have anyone in B halls. So this is going to happen. It's looking like Guardian and Simple, they're going to fall back. And they're actually going to go through those B halls. So this is eventually going to be a split towards this B bomb site. Edward is in connector. That's a pretty popular advanced position. And C's now even. He's in the ladder room. So he's going to have a chance to cut off flanks. Edward with 4 HP, that's a good situation where he can lurk and try and pounce and get an easy kill if he can time it properly. But it's going to be fairly dangerous for them to get up catwalk because there's no more smoke. So Flamey's going to be heavily exposed.
37 seconds left on the clock here too, so Na'Vi having to make a move here very soon if they want to actually be able to take site control. Taco still resisting the push from the apartments there, and Fallen, the first shot on him as the cross moves in from connector is not going to hit as well as he would have liked there. Now Na'Vi try to push their way into those C's, gets knocked out first. Fur and FNX picking up kills after Flamey finds one for the T side here, leaving it with 4 up for SK, and good control maintained. And Na'Vi are unfortunately stuck, and Taco pecking away at them here, knocking it down to just 2. Guardian looks to respond, but the missed shot from Taco, and he's also going to find the final one there too. SK pick up the very important first gun round. They're not out of the hot seat just yet. Na'Vi still have plenty of cash to reinvest into this next round.
Yeah, really nice read from SK. Once that hit eventually did come in towards the B bomb site, 3 players are there. And uncharacteristically, 2 of the strongest hoppers we have in the world, Fallen and Guardian, both missing some shots. You generally see them hitting. Guardian with some of those minor flicks there towards the end. Fallen that kill on towards catwalk when Flamey just basically had to run the gauntlet. So uncharacteristic out of the 2 of them, but a good rotation on the defense. And now it gets a little bit tougher for Na'Vi because all the utility is bought out for the SK side. The defense is everything, but that's a nice pick. Taco gets caught.
And with that, again, Na'Vi mount the first advantage here. And again, we'll move immediately as well to take that mid control after finding that initial kill. Had a big focus of players here in the back B halls initially, but now we're sending them through underpass. 2 of them here, 2 of them already up at top mid. Fallen obviously watching out for this. There's no flashbangs or anything moved out yet. There's the first one, but it doesn't affect Fallen. He picks up that kill. The smoke to try and keep him inside, but it doesn't work. He's able to get out of there for now, although he does lose about 40 of his health.
That's actually, that's scary. That was actually interesting though, because it looked like Fallen was hit by that flash. It just, it faded so quickly. So Navi's got to be a little bit stressed. Simple's got to be a little bit unhappy about that one. And coming through the smoke, Cold's going to find a kill. The man with the mustache doing work.
And that leaves now the rest of Na'Vi trying to push their way in through cap, but still having to deal with this impending danger of Cold here. Ooh, unfortunate timing on the peek from Guardian on scopes just as we were about to see the peek from Cold himself. So that leaves Cold still alive and still definitely dangerous from this position. And not only this too, but Fur waiting back over here to catch these players on the flank right now as Na'Vi trying to move in. Time is low, but Fur, perfect timing. As soon as he sees that, pops right out, picks up the kill, even gets the second one behind Arches. Edward did finally take out coldzera, but he's not going to survive for much longer. FNX finds the final kill, and it's a second pickup for the SK roster.
Fur has been a stud ever since he returned into this lineup. He had that brief spell where he had to sit out. And the one thing we do know, him being the secondary star, we've always praised him for his ability to play kind of second fiddle to Cold and rise to the occasion when needed. But you don't really see how much of an impact he has on this team until he was missing for that month, until we saw SK without him. So he really provides a lot of things to this team that they cannot do without.
So finally, the Na'Vi side will be broken here. And Fallen gonna have himself a little bit of a buffet early on. Finds Simple over towards top mid. Guardian able to survive the encounter for now, but again, Na'Vi already starting off a man down here, and Edward gonna be contested. Tapping away onto some damage into these CTs, but SK wants quick control, and they want to deny Na'Vi of anything on this round. So Talk already moving in. He's found Edward down below on the steps, gonna leap below. Oh, actually gets denied by Edward. Good shots from him. But in the meantime, we also saw Fallen picking up another kill with his op. So still slowly Na'Vi are fading away here. And Cold having a nice little shot of himself there against C's, taking him down. He knows the other 2 are here, so obviously
calm down,
reinforcements.
Yeah. Calm down. This only happens once in a lifetime, and there's a good Molotov kill. And actually, he gets dropped by Guardian, 6 shot with the Deagle, and if he can salvage that AWP, he can start making this very costly. The other thing as well, SK transitions into this double op setup. If they lose that now, if they can't salvage that AWP, that's a strategy they want to be able to run. Guardian's still alive and can't land any more kills. And they are going to find that second op as well. Fur picks it up for Cold. 3-3 now.
Looking a bit dangerous there for a second, but they do get it under control. And for SK now, they've tied the game up.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing for SK is this game plan they've come into this map with, right? You look back towards the pistol round, the aggression down into Palace and into lower halls and into B halls. Now we see Taco and gun rounds pushing up. Fur in the previous round was pushed up in those B halls. There's a lot of aggression from SK on the extremities of the map because those are where you can get the quick flanks. Those are where you can gather some pretty easy information, and it's low risk as compared to having a really heavy emphasis on middle.
NaVi again, though, wasting no time, just going for the first time, actually, that we've seen this to a direct execute out onto the A-bomb site, testing FNX, but Guardian with a beautiful shot, drops right down there, destroys FNX. With that, NaVi already have control here, but SK are wasting no time on the rotate, getting into this bomb site. Edward has a great position to catch anybody that tries to fall back in towards jungle there, and I believe he's even spotted one of them. Bird finding that first kill, but it's immediately traded up by Edward. Ball looks for the response shot, but cannot get it. Maintaining control with another pickup from Guardian here too. Falling to Taco to maintain some damage, but he can't do anything. Still smoked out and now stuck behind this Molotov as well. It's looking grim for SK.
Yeah, and C's is on the flank from this B bomb site. So Cold, I mean, he's at least hidden for now, but if he comes through this murder hole, then Cold has no chance in surviving this battle. He's not even appearing. It's going to be a knife kill.
Oh, no!
C's? Oh, he goes, no! What is this?
Cold Sarah picks up the shot against C's. All of a sudden it's a 2v3, but Taco is going to get knocked out, leaving this all into Cold. The bomb is going to go down there. NaVi still get control of things. It's simple. Gets a nice little one tap to close out the round, but still, those things just not happen.
Well, I got to shrug that one off. That's awkward. Just goes for the double stab instead of the single. I'm not quite sure. I mean, maybe he's thinking it's the back. It's going to be an auto kill, but either way, that's a bummer for C's, but they win the round, so no big harm done except to his pride. And now SK back out of the pistols. That's a stunner from Edward. 4-3, NaVi up by 1 round on this T side of Mirage.
Immediately moving out to shut things down, and now for the rest of SK here, unfortunately, not the best gunpowder to work with yet again on this round as well, being down onto mostly Nico. FNX, at the very least, has himself a scout, but with already losing one of his teammates here, not going to be looking to do anything fantastic, although Seized at the moment is somewhat surrounded here. Opens up the path to the B-bomb site, and there we go. Good timing on the peaks, catches the kill against Fur. Things are wide open yet again here. And with that, these guys should be able to easily push their way up toward the B-bomb site and find the plant, although Cold with at least 1 kill response there, taking down Flamey, so some damage being done by these CTs.
Yeah, I mean, Edward is about half HP. Simple's pretty low as well, so this scout from Cold can still do some damage, but Edward's going to check every angle. He does eventually get traded off, and there's a missed shot from Guardian, so Cold's going to push forward, but Guardian's not going to miss 2. So a good lead for NaVi now. SK, they're going to be back on the buy, but again, it's one of those very hindered buys in terms of their utility, and wisely SK, I believe this is going to be one of their tactical pauses.
Going directly into a gun round for it as well, so having immediate chances to apply this, but things are certainly not working out at the beginning of this one. NaVi always getting that mid control, and the big thing with that too is not only are they getting the mid control, but they're almost always able to transfer it onto a site. And when they finally started to have a little bit of trouble with it, they just switched up to the direct hit and were able to take control of that A site just 2 or 3 rounds ago too. That was the big shocker there, and it immediately dropped SK down again.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, some of those rounds they just give up a couple lives at the end. That's really going to hurt the economy. So tough for SK at the moment, and I mean, a lot of it is very interesting seeing them be this aggressive on the CT side. Just players just pushing up in different positions. So that's very strange that they come into that with this kind of a game plan, especially when you consider they're going against NaVi, who's known to be so slow paced, who's known to be very methodical out of a default, sit far back, run the clock down, wait and wait and wait toward the end of the round. It's designed to punish that kind of aggression. So SK may be trying to get it to be a little bit too clever against NaVi here.
Bit of a clarification as well, guys. It looks like this is a technical pause, not a tactical pause. So we should be fixing that quick issue there and then getting things unpaused as soon as, obviously, things are ready to rock and roll again.
Yeah, this is going to be the op battle. We haven't really seen either of the oppers kind of face off against each other quite yet, but you can see kind of the idea. Guardian, a lot of times with that mid control at the state of VP. I really like that call from NaVi. There's been a lot of talk about that being one of the teams that's been punished by the coaching change because Starks was calling a lot of the tactics, had a heavy hand and do what they were doing in each round. Well, that was a really cool call by them to just walk up that A ramp and just explode onto that site. The timing is in their favor because FNX just happened to be one of those moments where he was looking in the other direction, so they were able to sneak up and gain a lot of ground on him just based on sheer luck by timing. But other than that, I mean, completely catches him off guard.
Obviously, off of this one too, we haven't seen, as you were mentioning before, we haven't seen a lot of the double ops as it's to a certain degree, been kind of back and forth in respect that neither team has been able to build up a huge economy as of yet. So there hasn't really presented a lot of opportunities for that to come in a consistent manner, especially for SK too, because they've been on the struggling end of this half so far.
Well, that's the other cool thing about that call to just go up the A ramp. That was the round after NaVi discovered that both Fallen and Cold were using the AWP. So they're just saying, let's not try and do some kind of spread out, slow pace, and potentially get picked off by these ops. Let's get into the A bomb site. Let's force both ops to have to retake when we have all of our smokes lined up. That's the weakest position for those guns to be in, is behind the smokes, having to retake a bomb site, having to clear corners. So NaVi kind of circumvents that double op, and they go for a highly aggressive play. And then after that, now they can slow things back down again. They're not worried about going up against one AWP. It's the double op they don't want to mess with.
And we are on pause now, guys, so we'll be getting back into the game in just a second here. SK have decided again to go for the buy here, although Taco, interesting choice from him, just going to be going down to the SMG to be able to afford him a little bit of extra utility for this team to utilize here. The rest, though, are back up to a full buy. It includes the op on Fallen with armor and everything behind it. And obviously, NaVi still with no problems about it. They actually take very fast cat control, as you can see here, too. Already halfway up it. No resistance at all, though it's a lighter force this time from the T side. It's definitely going to collapse itself into the connector more than likely, as there's also 3 players inside of the Palace, and obviously Flamey getting himself ready to push up the T ramp too.
Yeah, and NaVi, they don't have a whole lot of options available to them. 2 smokes. They used a good amount of this utility early on in these rounds to gain the ground and middle, and they haven't really gained anything that aggressive that's going to allow them to springboard any kind of attack. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle this with 3 players at the A bomb site. SK is the perfect defense at the moment.
And they're moving into, it's really hard for them to spot any of these players. They're so condensed on the bomb site here. Flamey hoping for some sort of peek, but in the meantime, SK just dominating that push out from Palace. 2 more, going to try to push their way out ramp, but Furt holding the close-up angle. Easy first pickup for him when he's supported by teammates. Sees at the very least, trades out a kill, but at a heavy cost. You can see he's down to 10 HP now. Flamey, it's actually a flashbang that sort of works out for him, but unfortunately he's way too blinded by it, and Furt is going to be able to pick up the kill because of that. Now Seized, obviously, not a whole lot of options, backs up, trying to keep himself alive to pick up at least 1 or 2 more kills here, but Taco is going to move into punish. A 4th round will go up on the board for SK after that pause.
And NaVi just gets whittled down once Edward is trying to make his way in towards connector. Half of that prong was pretty much taken out of the fight, or half of that attack. So then the attack was condensed over towards Palace, over towards A ramp. And SK just had too strong of a defense for that. So nicely done from them. They're working on equalizing things at 5-5. They're almost there, but I think there's going to be 1 more buy out of the NaVi side.
As the money is still sitting a little bit low for some of these players, but most, as you mentioned there too, Seized, Edward, Simple, and Guardian, they're sitting in good presence. Just Flamey that's going to have to downgrade himself, more than likely to a Tech 9 buy or just an SMG pickup.
Yeah, this will be interesting to decide what NaVi's going to do, because as we saw in that last round, and there was a previous gun round as well, where it seemed like they're using a decent amount of their smokes early on in these rounds, but they're not necessarily doing anything with the early ones. They're kind of trying to see if they're going to get any peeks out of SK. There's been a couple times where they've come down to the late round and they don't have a whole lot for an execute, so they've got to be very careful. The 4th round where Flamey had to run the gauntlet up catwalk, just this previous round where they used 3 smokes early and then only really had 2 for an execute, so they've got to be careful in how they use that, because especially if SK gets back to that double op, they're going to need all the smokes, all the flashbangs that they can use.
And again, guys, you can see too, NaVi now taking their tactical pause to try and figure things out as they do get back into this next round here. Trying to figure out how they can keep their lead strong at this point, as SK are battling it back, and it's looking a bit dangerous for them too. About to be broken at that point. SK would definitely take the lead away and be able to hold the advantage on the CT side. Right now, NaVi has this huge edge by holding the lead on this T side. If they can keep it going up to like a 9-6 or 10-5 scoreline, that is where SK are going to have a lot of trouble trying to close out this match in the second half there, as NaVi would very definitely, if they are able to get a good start on that CT side, dominate things once they set up their double op on the defensive side. But it has been unpaused, so we will jump back in it once again. The buy-up has come in from both teams. NaVi buying up here, although Edward having to downgrade himself to a Galil, and Flamey, again, as mentioned previously, on a Tech 9.
Oh, there's a punish from Fallen right through the smoke. Good timing from him. Guardian went for the AWP. He doesn't have armor behind it, so that's a little bit scary for him. He's got to be careful with how he positions this AWP. The bomb is also dropped back towards T-spawn, so I mean, Guardian's going to have to be the one to go retrieve that. Unless their plan is to come back towards the B site, this is going to actually cause a lot of time to drain out of whatever they want to do. So a small mistake from NaVi in this round. It might have been easier to manage if Edward hadn't gotten picked off there.
NaVi opening push too. Again, we still see NaVi favoring that control here of the middle area as Seas moves in from underpass, uncontested too, and takes control of things. With that, they are able to flush the guys out from top mid and push them into the back B halls once again. Two of them moving in to take control here, and Flamey even falling back from his position, watching out for flights from the A site. He's going to be grouping up with these players, favoring that kind of a hit, although SK still spread out evenly across the map. Pretty heavy commitments onto the A bomb site, but still, they were stalled out the last time they tried to go for a B hit, and if it's similar to that last time, then we'll easily be able to see enough time go up onto the board for the SK players to rotate appropriately.
It's looking like this is going to be a hit at the B bomb site, and C's, I don't think he's going to try and work his way up catwalk. He doesn't have anything to really use, so I think he might just end up being a lurker, try to cut off some rotations. But the question is Guardian leading the way. He's got Taco close up. That's a nice find. That's the AWPer as well. That's huge for Navi. Now this B hit can progress. Cold and Taco are isolated here, so these entries are going to be so important. The flashbang from Taco gets punished. Cold responds, but he's got to hold down a little bit longer. They know he's at bench. Guardian with a missed shot. Cold trying to do everything he can. He's brought it into a 2-on-2.
Now the rotations are on the way, though, and Fur's actually taking the long path all the way back through T-Swan. 10 seconds left. Navi will be able to get that bomb onto the ground, mainly by the virtue of the fact that it's such a long rotate. FNX doesn't dare to push in by himself when Fur is just now getting himself into the apartments there. Try to see if he can pick someone off, crossing from the bomb spot over towards bench 2. Won't be happening. However, Guardian still very, very low at 37 HP, and that flank is on its way. FNX waiting for him to pry in to get in a good position here, but Fur is going to move up. Now starts to look for that opening shot as he moves in. Nobody suspects him at all. The first kill's completely for free. Guardian peeks out from bench, gets the first response and the second one on FNX. Navi pick up another round, and they get to keep their lead going.
Impressive from Guardian, using the bench perfectly, isolating both those kills. I was just thinking, there's an internal clock that players have. When they don't see this retake happening, they start saying, okay, it's been long enough that this flank starts to open up as an opportunity for us to get punished. No one from Navi turns around, but Guardian, stellar play in a 1-on-2 with the AWP. Even with no armor, makes it look easy.
We are going to see a player moving out directly into window, Fallen just stands out in the open. And we do see Fur getting traded out, though, by Simple, but what an impressive opening shot from Fallen, and he's even able to escape back into the site where he's now going to wait. And SK, with the aggressive mid control, they push them right back out. Navi now have to split. Coldzera sneaking in. He maybe wants a little bit more. Falls back, though, after retrieving the weapon. He's got the op now, and that's going to be troublesome later on in the round.
Well, the one thing they can afford, SK, at the moment, if they can put Cold somewhere with this AWP, they can stack the other site with pistols. They can say, you have the gun. We're going to trust you to be able to hold this down so we can stack the other bomb site, give ourselves as much of an advantage as possible. And actually, he's going to be here with 2 pistol players to the B site, so they're applying pressure. And I imagine Navi is not going to want to actually attack this B site just because they know there's 2 players here. So they're going to try and go elsewhere. But still, they're trying to figure out where Cold is. That's the big goal right now because he has the AWP. They need to discover where that is on the map. And at the moment, they're just flat out avoiding it.
Smart move from Navi, though, as they are going to flush over to the same bomb site. We're only Fallen is waiting for them. And the timing on this peak could prove to be very unfortunate, too. He's essentially going to be sandwiched between both of the pushes from Navi as they work their way into the site. Although all of a sudden, SK, they're the ones rotating over, but they don't have this off to support them. Fallen, looking away when the peak from C's comes in from Connector. It'll take him down. And we see the rest are going to be able to flush out pretty easily, too. That's
the tough part. That kind of idea of putting the op in B and having everyone stacked over towards A. It came just a couple seconds too late for SK. That's too long for Fallen to be the only player at this A site trying to watch every single angle. So now they don't have any real time to get Cold over in a position to help out. Although FNX is going to try and make this happen. Headshot with the Deagle, can't get anything more. And Cold, you might just want to sneak away. There's a good flick. And that's going to allow him to survive and just fall back. That's going to keep the remaining members of Navi honest in case he's trying to go for it. Still early on in the plant, but he's already bailed out. So op going to be salvaged for SK. It's not bad, all things considered, into this round.
No, not at all, especially considering the fairly minimal investment that they bring to the table. For the most part, just upgrading their pistols. I don't even think most of them picked up armor this time.
That Fallen shot, that was some big boy deagling. That was like Wild West, stand in the open, just flat out challenge.
Even having Guardian type it in the chat there too, the respect for that one, because that was a very, very aggressive move that he makes, and it ends up paying off there too. Picking up that kill, at the very least slowing the pace from Navi. They do end up coming out on top, but look at all the damage that is down. 3 to 5 players get dropped. That's going to force a lot of rebuys. The money for Navi at this point is not necessarily in a great place. For those that did manage to make it out of this round without having to buy, they're sitting at most about 3,900, but pretty much everybody at least buys for a teammate or something like that. So the most they have at this point is Flaming with 2.6.
I mean, in reality, you look at this buy, the good utility on Navi, 5 AKs, a bunch of armor. I mean, you'd say this is a really solid buy. The one thing they're missing is that op on Guardian. That's what was taken away from them. Even with the economy being strong enough to have this level of a buy, you still kind of feel it's diminished with the Guardian lacking that AWP. So you can see it's going to be a little bit different for Navi in this round because Guardians pretty much had that in all their gun rounds. So they all of a sudden don't have this tool that has been so important to them.
The early pushes again from NaVi, splitting up across the map, fading away from mid early on here too, as they send 2 into the B halls, and quite a few of their players actually on the approach to A. There's 3 of them look they are going to group up over here in the tier ramp, and this may actually shift itself into that direct take again, but they still need to move that player out into mid so they can get that connector pressure added to the mix of this one. C's will be grouping up for that one, and the other 3, along with, of course, Flamey here, are getting ready to go for that direct push and actually fade away from it. It's going to be a full 5-man push if they go through with this up the T ramp.
Yeah, it's going to be just a standard execute at this A bomb site. They have plenty of Molotovs as well, so FNX, he's going to be in a position that can get fired out. So he's got to be, it's going to be interesting to see how he manages to overcome this kind of an execute. Flashbang smokes are out. The wall of smoke's going to be up. Connector, there's the Molotov. FNX has to peek. The flashbang is perfect, and Edward's not ready for it. FNX somehow gets out of danger, and there's Fallen. He comes in. The follow-up shot saves FNX as well. He's still going for more, and NaVi haven't been able to find their way into the site until just now.
It's brought into a 4 versus 3, but SK still hold good control. They're going to fall back a little bit here so as not to give away any extra players from this side. One of them pushing up. There's Simple picking up the kill, knocking out the Steps player. Taco still holding at the edge of this one. He spots the player pushing through the smoke, but doesn't react. Seas is going to take down Taco. Coldzera catching an additional trade, keeps this even still, and Fallen pushing right out, but denied entirely by Seas. An instant headshot from him.
10 seconds left, and they've got to get the bomb into the site. And Cold, he gives up the angle. He's going for more. Can they get it planted in time? They're just going to have it. But that was a scary moment. Cold had that angle to prevent that passage.
Television sometimes setting in there too, throwing NaVi off guard, but they do recover from it. They do get it onto the ground, but Cold has all the time in the world to try and clutch this out, although finding a kit, but still at 34 HP here, trading out for the rifle as well. As he shifts in, he's spotted by C's, back behind the firebox though, and he's just gonna shut it down, leaving no chance. NaVi jet setting ahead again here, and SK falling by the wayside with not a lot of cash. They're more than likely gonna have to just half buy here.
Yeah, this is now very, very tough for SK because this half, that's the round now where this could completely snowball out of control. They've been struggling to stay afloat in this half, but in reality, now with a pistol buy here, NaVi gonna having 9 rounds on their T side of Mirage. That's gonna be so difficult to overcome in the second half. Guardian spotting a couple of aggression jumping out of the window, and Edward and Simple just clean things up.
So good control maintained again from NaVi in the early round of things here. SK trying to keep that aggression going on these upgraded pistol rounds, but just not really yielding anything with it. With the exception of when Fallen got that kill a couple rounds back by standing in the window position that really mucked things up for NaVi later on. Now though, they know that there's going to be more pressure, though Guardian again missing another shot as they try to push from Cat. It's going to be left, and also not only that too, but you can see FNX grabs a kill with his Deagle onto Flamey. All of a sudden we're even in a 3-on-3. No one from SK though has been able to upgrade their own guns yet, so they're still working with that same arsenal, but that's going to change right now as FNX does find the AK.
Yeah, but they've got to get on their horse. They've got to get over to support Taco at this B site. He cannot hold on. It's too difficult, but Cold is here. He only has a CZ. But if he can bide his time and wait for the plant to go down, that could be a punish. Simple's waiting for his teammates, and he's got position at bench, so he just drops the bomb over towards Guardian. And this is going to be the peak from Cold. He punishes it, but there's Simple. The return eliminates the danger, at least for now, but FNX is here with the AK-47, and what can he do? This is the guy, the big impact player for SK. He's brought it into a one-on-one as well, and C's is going to peek right into him. Miraculous for FNX, and NaVi let one slip away.
That is going to be a huge deal again. SK, I mean, I have to take my words back because essentially I was just saying how SK, they weren't really impacting that well in those upgraded pistol rounds, and now 2 in a row they managed to almost shut down NaVi, and on this one they successfully do it, bringing it up to 5-8.
Yeah, and this is one that NaVi's going to look back on and think that we should have never lost this. Simple, not aware that he's exposed at this angle, a little bit swung out wide, and C's just peeking right into window. Didn't even seem like he was prepared to take that fight. But, I mean, smart play from FNX, grab that angle, keep the planter boxed in, and you have to say, I mean, a little bit lackluster from NaVi protecting Guardian with the plant. Cold with that CZ able to delay it. That's huge. That's what buys time for FNX to get into that position.
And so off of that, of course, SK, another chance to forge their way into this half once again and keep the scoreline close as we come into the last couple of rounds here. Still plenty of chances for NaVi to just push ahead again, though, and they're playing it passively. Edward trying to wait for that push from Fur, but misses the actual attempt at it there. One of them pushes up, but no damage done whatsoever. But that is going to cause some more hesitation here. NaVi holding back.
And again, the aggression from SK, FNX, he's pushing up through Palace. He's going to have a quick flank coming on. All the meanwhile, this mid attack has been stalled out. NaVi knows they're running into, this heavy pressure to prevent this map control, and FNX, meanwhile, now it's come to fruition. Flamey's not even looking, so map control gained by SK, information gained by SK, and NaVi, they have to swing back towards T-spawn to try and neutralize this, and FNX is going to get caught out in the open. That's a bit too much. So NaVi, they neutralize it back down into a 4-on-4, and everything that SK had just gained by that one kill is lost just as quickly. And
still a minute on the clock too, so NaVi have no reason to overreact to this and push onto his site yet. They're still holding, generally speaking, around T-spawn and top mid here. They've sent C's into the sort of crossroads between the Palace and the T-ramp push onto the A-bomb site, but again, nothing else being looked to be gained here. Finally starting to smoke off the window to allow them some pressure there, and really just deny visibility. SK won't be able to figure out what's going on in mid exactly, and in the meantime of this one, obviously, Edward just sneaking right up to the connector, the missed shot from Fallen. He's got partial control there, and the other three are starting their push over towards the A site too, where you currently, because of all this attention drawn to mid, you only have Fur to defend this, but he's holding a very close-up angle too, waiting for the peek. The first headshot is his, and that flashbang hits below the step, so he shuts it down. Fallen grabs the kill out towards mid, as does coldzera, and with that, SK are able to hold.
This is what happens. You can't allow SK to get back into these games. They're so dangerous, and just that one round that NaVi let slip away has now led into a small streak here at the end of this half that's going to make this a lot closer than NaVi might have wanted it to be, or it should have been. That round, you could see Simple and Guardian, I believe, was going towards A ramp. They mistimed that pop flash. One, I actually don't even think it was really that effective, all things considered, when we saw it from POV. But Guardian peeking before it definitely would have neutralized any effect it could have had. So a couple mistakes coming out for NaVi right at the end, which is allowing SK to have a huge advantage to get the last 3 rounds of this half.
These are big, big mistakes indeed from NaVi. Handing over the op just a couple of rounds to go there too, when SK were invested, and as you mentioned there too, not defending Guardian when he was going for the plan on the last eco round there from SK when they just picked up the upgraded pistols. Things like that unfortunately lead to rounds for NaVi where they absolutely had no business picking them up whatsoever.
Yeah, just some curious decision making towards the end, but I mean, SK being able to claw back into this, that's very, very good stuff. They were looking like this was looking like a dire half. I mean, it was a 5-1 run for NaVi during a certain stretch of the middle of this half. So they come out with a very, very powerful T side. It's off the back Simple, the new acquisition, 14-8. All eyes on how he's going to play in this lineup as its lifespan moves forward. And then seized Edward and Guardian, all with 11 kill efforts. So team wide for NaVi on this spectacular T half they've had.
Guardian, as we saw too, is another definitely player to highlight, especially in the early rounds there, where we're seeing some good pickups from him. Started off a little bit rough, but as he started to really hit his stride there a bit, he was picking up some very big kills. He's fallen off in the past couple of rounds. We've seen those mistakes being made. We obviously have had the money in a pretty tough spot, so not as many out pickups for him. But overall, especially in sort of the mid rounds here, he's been very effective for NaVi's successes.
Well, big chance here for SK to bring it as close as possible, 7-8. If they can pick this one up, and they have a massive advantage. They have the op, they have all the utility they could need, they have 4 rifles. Meanwhile, the NaVi side, it's pistols, and Fur's already been taken out of this round as we've gone live. So it's a 5-on-4 for SK in the last round of the half.
But immediately too, Fur's going to look to move up towards top mid again and punish this a little more, although he takes some early damage, so falls back further down the ramp there. NaVi, though, sounded the alarm. They're falling back off of their hit that was initially going to be working its way into B, possibly to regroup, but now Edward's actually been called to group with them instead. Fast utility being tossed out onto the B bomb site, and they are getting ready to start a very, very early push into this area here too. But keep in mind, not a whole lot of utility, and it is going to be delayed even more by SK throwing in this Molotov.
Yeah, that's a nice nice Molotov from Taco, just to delay things a little bit longer. Cold's going to be here as well. They have 3 flashes between them. If this execute starts to come in, they can delay it a little bit further, but there's no one really too close for the SK side. FNX can be there pretty quickly, but huge advantages. It's just got to be SK's. They've got to make sure they hit their shots, they don't muff anything, and don't give NaVi a chance here to get 9.
Waiting for the actual hit to roll in here now. Now NaVi are ready to go for it, and they're going to push all their remaining players into this site. Held up again here by a flashbang. It's holding them off a little bit. Now the smoke will give them some more room to push back in, but they're taking damage on the way in. Edward now down at 23 HP, but Simple catching Taco there. He's out in the open, and another peek from Simple too. The Deagle shot takes down a coldzera, and another one from Simple. Up to 3 now for him. He single-handedly shuts down the B bomb site defense, and it's all on Fallen and Fur. He's holding a close angle just outside too, so there's no safe path for these players to push out. They don't even have any utility either. Fallen trying to look for a way out, misses the shot, obviously just trying to take one out there. It's Simple holding for it. Fallen trying to jump out, but there's nothing being seen at all. NaVi in full control of this one, and it's looking at this point like it'll be a 9th round. They're trying to push for it. Another one from Deagle. He won't get the ace, but Flamey shuts it down anyway. And an amazing round for Simple ends the half. NaVi go up 9-6.
The power of Simple, he would not be denied in that round, but you know, you look at that, that only happens because of mistake from the SK defense. Taco overextends on the side of the bomb site. He could have played that more passively. He could have baited NaVi into actually dropping off of the platform and falling into the crossfire that Cold had set up. Once he falls, Cold's just going to get overrun. They need to take that fight as NaVi's falling off the plat.
So NaVi managed to pick up 9 rounds on their T side. Now the only question remaining, of course, is does SK bring something else to the table to be able to swing it back in just as strong of favor? Or will NaVi's own CT side of defense hold in a stronger fashion?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the second half between SK and NaVi. You're live once again from ESL 1 New York.
Glad we have that in the highlights. So is C's. C's is happy we have that here.
Brush it off.
Yeah, I mean, this
always a good time.
This is that great 1-on-2 FNX again, his own 1-on-2 to respond with it. I mean, this was really SK Gaming looking like they were beat. It looked like they didn't really know how to get back into this half. Didn't look like they were even going to have the opportunity. And NaVi just lets one thing slip right at the end. And that's what allows SK to bring this up towards 6. It looked like they were going to be stuck on 4, maybe up to 5, but they really take advantage of a small mistake from NaVi and get 2 extra rounds out of it.
And as the day continues on, of course, the crowd continues to pack itself in here to the Barclays Arena. Let's make some noise, guys, for the second half, as it is going to be getting started here in just a second. We'll be unpausing it right now, so we should be jumping into it. The pistol round now. The second half is SK will take on the T side, and NaVi will be jumping onto the CT side.
Still a tall task ahead for SK. I mean, one of the things that they're known for as a team is their ability to get T-sided rounds on the maps that is very defensive sided. They still can, grind these rounds out. Maps like Train, maps like Mirage, maps like Overpass, their T-sides are very, very strong, and that's kind of what puts them ahead of all the other teams on these maps. But this against NaVi, who themselves, they have the same strength, obviously, but this is a map that has been very, very good for NaVi in the history of Counter-Strike.
Absolutely. So let's get into it now. And we see the opening buys come out there fairly typical across both. A little bit heavy on the utility from SK there too, as they decide to go 2 players with that. Only 3 with armor. However, it's a very fast take, so it might be warranted, or at least not necessarily a take, but a very fast initial peek up the T ramp there. 2 of them, you can really quickly just to try and see what they can find, and then go back down to reapply. Now as the smokes roll in, now I believe is when they're actually going to go for the executor. But there's a no rotate at all from NaVi. Everybody's still 3, generally speaking, grouping up around the B bomb site, but now they're going to start to move in. Guardian has a great angle though to pick up some headshots here. He's going to find 1, and we see Flamey finding a second one within there too. He looks for a 3rd pickup for this CT side, and he's going to grab it here. SK get gutted on their way into the bomb site, while Coldzera will respond. He's lost his only other teammate, Taco, here, and now he tries to hold in the 1v3. He'll back up behind Tetris and try to pull off the impossible.
Yeah, it's not even really planted for him whatsoever, so that's going to be a defuse, and that is one of the most beautifully executed retake defenses I've seen in a pistol round in a long time. NaVi not trying to overreach. As soon as the smokes come in, the spawn player on stairs just falls back, waits for them to aggress upon him. Guardian gets his 1 kill, sneaks back into the smoke, not trying to do too much. So SK, as if it couldn't get more difficult for them, that's now both pistol rounds won by NaVi.
Obviously, they'll look to jump that ahead a little bit here. 3 investments onto the rifles, or apologies, 4 investments onto rifles, and only a P90 pickup from Edward, which isn't even going to give them the extra money, of course. Just going to be yielding these guys, focusing on the rounds ahead. And with SK, they will look to invest pretty lightly into the second round, just upgrading their pistols as they wait, of course, for that 3rd round.
Well, 3 players coming from Underpass, Fur, Cold, and Taco. Fallen is going to be the A ramp, but the big thing is they've invested into upgraded pistols, but they have no utility. Guardian here, all the timing. That's fortunate for Taco, but I'm not sure he can get anything from it. He can't. Guardian does connect. So when you have these upgraded pistols, the Deagles, when you have no utility, you're essentially relying on the Deagles to get some really, really fortunate shots, those really beautiful 1Ds that we like to see. And when it doesn't happen, it's like this. It just falls flat because those Deagles are the main power of that kind of a buy.
No damage at all really done to NaVi there too, so they escaped that round. I think the only damage that was done was like 10 to either Simple or Guardian, so they get out of that one with no repercussions whatsoever. And not only this too, but because of the fact they went for 4 to 5 rifles, they're essentially already ready for this third gunner investment coming in from SK. They're going to pick up their own rifles here. 2 of them downgraded to Galil's to get a little bit of extra utility, but even with that, you can see they don't have a lot. They've used a lot of it here just within the first couple seconds of the round to try and block off mid, but already great damage being done by Guardian from within the window. FNX down at 2 HP, and Coldzera has been knocked out completely.
That is an incredible amount of damage coming out so quick and so early. Really nicely done from Guardian. And Taco, he actually finds Edward in the smoke, doesn't get the kill, but he's brought him low, so doing his best to even things up, but there's so much pressure on mid here. Simple, Guardian in window room, in the ladder room. They can shut things down, and there's a nice trade. Taco finds one. He's going to try and get up and do a little bit more. He's gotten control, and he's forced Guardian out, but he's not going to be able to find any more kills. And this is now where SK Gaming, you say, yeah, somehow you've managed to claw yourself into a situation where you're in this round, but you have no real utility left into it, so what can you actually do?
More damage being done here too, bringing a couple more of the players from NaVi low. Fur takes himself a long-range battle, but ends up losing it. That's the bomb going down to the ground too, so now Taco has to go on a bit of a recovery mission. Thankfully, it's going to be fairly low risk. Nobody from the CT side here is in a really good area to try and deny that. So he'll be able to pick it back up, but again, the big problem becomes SK are now in a 2v4, despite the damage that is done. FNX...
It's basically a 1v4. Let's be honest. Yeah. FNX 2 HP, can't really do much. I like what Navi's done with Edward. They boosted up in the site because he's also at low HP. So, you know, even though you don't have the health to take a fight, you're in this, you know, creative spot where they might not check and you could just get a free kill, but it doesn't even come to him. Really, really suffocating and nice defense from Navi that round.
NaVi are going to push ahead now, doubling the scoreline of SK, and SK has a lot of recovery work to do, and it needs to be done within these next 2 or 3 rounds. Otherwise, it's all over, and NaVi are going to take fast control of this map and push their way into the semifinals here at ESL 1 New York.
Well, I mean, this is the tough part. SK going for that risky buy in that third round. They don't get anything from it. So now back onto pistols. Navi's going to be able to get up a little bit farther. They're also going to, I mean, the first time they had just going against pistols like this, all 5 members survived. So able to build up money there. This time around, if they do the same thing, they're going to be so flush with cash. It'll be so difficult for SK to come back in that. Taco's wiped out easily. The rest of SK isn't even there. A little bit of miscoordination on this hit at the B site. And Simple and Guardian just make it look easy. So does Seized chiming in as well, but nothing, no ground gain for SK there.
Not really any kills at all going on for SK in these first 4 rounds. I think a total of about 3 kills in general is just how many we see the SK side picking up in those first couple of rounds. So NaVi being able to escape easily, and look at their money too, even spending some cash to upgrade here now. The lowest is going to be Guardian sitting at 3,100, but pretty much everybody else is sitting close to or above 8K.
Yeah, the benefit of having really, really good anti-ecos. Strong economy. Taco now the only one here. Edward spots him out. That's a nice headshot. That's very, very early on in the round. And that's actually a key piece of this SK Gaming offense because they want to use Taco at that A site to just stay alive, to have a fallback option for them. He's their plan B if the rest of everything doesn't work. If they get bogged down elsewhere, Taco's supposed to maintain control on that side of the map, so they have another option. Now they don't have that.
NaVi themselves here now with that good control too. It's caused a bit of hesitance for SK. NaVi have started to spread a little bit. They are starting to shift one of their players from the B site back in. Fallen going for the jump boost there to get himself into mid, but obviously nothing waiting him on there on the CT side, so doesn't really yield much. But they will get control of this earlier. The problem though, as is always the issue with getting control of this mid area, is then transitioning it onto a site. They're going to get good smokes into the connector, but again, this is all being allotted by NaVi. They don't really have to do much to get this. The real trouble comes when they actually decide to push this into one of the 2 bomb sites.
Well, they have Fur in position and connector, so now you're going to see Fallen and Coldzera just pick up the bomb, fall back, and they can either go towards the A or the B bomb site. And with FNX falling back as well, it looks like they're going to go over the B. The tough part for this is actually NaVi with a 5-on-4. They really don't have to spread this defense too thin. They have everything covered right now. Seized, he's going away again. They have Edward boosted up into this site, so he'll be able to, you know, stop the plant, at least delay things, maybe get 2 kills. All depends on how SK is going to clear things out, but Seized being here is going to make this so difficult for SK. Edward even has a Molotov if he wants to use it.
The flashbang hitting perfectly too on most of SK, trying to push themselves in. Fur looking to lurk in here too as he makes some noise early on. Taking that first battle against Simple there, but in the meantime, the actual execute moves its way in. Edward hasn't made a sound as of yet, waiting for more to push in, but actually, oh, who gets that kill on a repeat there? Flamey also taking out Fur, but FNX, he's been knocked out of the equation. It's still an advantage for NaVi. Good denial by Fallen though, keeps his teammate alive on the repeat though, gets a bit too aggressive. Guardian is going to knock him out, so it's FNX versus the world here to keep SK in this match. A first good kill, he moves out for the second, but Flamey, he's going to shut it down. So NaVi will find their 14th. They'll be 2 away from taking this map.
Guardian's going to be so happy. In a 3-on-2, his teammate jumping out of the window a little bit early. It looks suspect when he gets picked off by Fallen with the op, but it does allow Guardian to gain the angle safely and trade that kill off. So nicely done from NaVi. And like we said, there's just so much money that SK has to burn through. That plant's going to help with some bonus money, but they've got to, they have to string it. It's going to take three rounds to really burn through this cash that NaVi has. So there's no real end in sight for SK. This is a long road to redemption for them in the second half.
And they're going to go for just an all-in buy here, too. Picking up 5 AKs across the team for SK, and also very early on here, too, already sending 2 of their players up towards the B apartments, and Fer not wasting any time getting into position, just destroyed, though, by Simple. All his hopes and dreams down the toilet, and Fallen now as well, down at 62 HP.
Well, the double up of SK didn't have too much of an impact in the first half. Immediately upon switching to the double up, NaVi, Simple gets that headshot right off the bat. So this is 2 rounds in a row where SK's been forced to play 4-on-5, basically for a minute and a half.
So off of this, too, SK fall back from those B halls and now just look to control top mid too, easily switching this into a very readable, at least from our end, an A hit here, and NaVi already having 3 of their players positioned near this bomb site too. Edward moving himself out to the window position to hold this in the eventual push, but SK with this tough task ahead of them here, the biggest thing they could get here too is catching Flamey over peeking, because look, they get free control of connector. Coldzera's gonna move in, but Flamey gets behind cover here, even re-peeks and grabs the kill on the Coldzera. So things just continue really to get worse and worse here for SK.
And this is kind of where we've seen SK struggle online, is these kind of situations where, you know, sometimes, yeah, when they do get a little bit down, but, you know, SK is very well known for having plans, you know, that early round plan, the mid round plan, the late round plan. Well, sometimes in the mid round, their transition into that late round tactic doesn't really come to fruition, and it seems very individual. So you can see, now it's Taco's turn to take a fight. Thankfully, he wins this one. He's going to go for more, and he's almost able to get it, but he's the only one left, and it won't much matter. Map point for NaVi.
So with that, obviously SK are going to reinvest again into this round. They'll get the best buy they can out onto the table, but it's going to be even more likely even worse than what we saw in the previous one. You can see it there too. Not even full AKs this time. 2 of their players having to go on to Galil's, and utility is bothersome here. Only 3 smokes. They don't have any flashbangs at all, just 2 decoys.
Yeah, this is going to be so tough, and this time it seems like they're not going for any. I mean, because of the lack of utility, the lack of arsenal, it's just going to be a hit towards this A bomb site. All 4 players, 3 in Palace, FNX on the ramp, Coldzera at the base. There's Flamey with a nice shot. He's been stellar at the A site, but he can't get anything else done. It's now on to Guardian. They have no tools. They have no smoke to block him off. He has free reign, and he's trying to hunt down a kill, trying to bring this back into a 3-on-3, but it's not going to happen. SK not giving him anything for the moment.
Coldzera, in the meantime, still playing around with that connector position too, and he's going to hear Guardian stomping in, even looks at it. But Fallen grabs the frag from inside, picks up the kill. He's going to get a free op off of that more than likely too. There's a good shot from Simple though to shut out Fallen. Down to a 2v3 and another one from Simple. He's even got another player sitting back over here in the T-ramp. The nade is going to push him back, but on the re-peek, Simple is just getting these kills back to back,
Simple.
and then he even gets the 4th one as well. Simple dominates SK Gaming on another huge 4K to end the second half, end this match. They're going to win this one 16-6 and shoot themselves into the semifinal.
That's what he's here for. He had 28 on the match, but that is a stellar retake, a 2-on-4, and Simple gets them all. Makes it look easy with the AWP, and SK is going to have to figure something out for their next match.
They are not done with these group stages just yet, but with a performance like that, Simple easily has to be the highlight player, specifically in that second half there, having some huge plays back to back to back, shutting down the opposition.
Well, the 4K with the Deagle to get that last round in the first half, now the 4K with the op to close out the match. That is impressive stuff, and I mean, we know he's a playmaker. We've seen it before, and that's why he's brought into this team to be that X factor, and I mean, he's pulled some crazy things out early on in this tournament.
On the other side, as you were saying there too, is the SK players really struggling with the mid rounds, especially when they lose that 1 or 2 players in the early rounds, just never really being able to make up that difference there and be able to bring it back and make up the difference there and get themselves onto a site successfully. And I mean, even when we did see plans, some of the post plans just weren't really looking so good.
Well, it was 16-6 for NaVi, and they're going to be our first team into the semifinals.
And so with that, guys, we are, I believe, going to send things over to a quick break real quick, and we'll be back with more directly after that.
wrong, and I didn't understand that you were the one, and I can't wait to see you hindsight is fleeting when your heart's bleeding and all you can see is red, till you discover it is within each other to forgive and make amends. If I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't have said what I said. I took the